From a flicker of candlelight in 1789 to the glare of modern screens in the West Wing, every president has held the pen. Executive orders not passed by Congress, but etched into law by command. Some shaped history. Some sparked controversy. Others were forgotten. Until now. This is where we break them down. Every signature, every shift in power, every consequence still felt today. From Washington to Biden, welcome to Executive Order Watch.
Democracy, we live for it. For democracy, we fight for it. For democracy, we've died for it. And for democracy, we watch it. This is Executive Order. My fellow Americans, 2024 was a defining year, not just for this administration, but for the soul of this nation. We came into it still healing. Healing from a pandemic that changed the world. Healing from political division that's tested our very democracy. But we didn't just heal, we built. We kept our foot on the gas when it came to rebuilding American infrastructure. Roads, bridges, broadband, they're not just buzzwords anymore, they're job sites. They're cleaner water and faster internet for rural towns and urban neighborhoods alike. We fought to protect reproductive rights, even as states moved to take them away. I stood firm that Roe versus Wade. Wade being overturned wasn't the end of the conversation, it was the start of a national moral reckoning, and I pushed for federal protections to ensure that women, not politicians, decide what happens to their own bodies. On the global stage, we stood with Ukraine. We stood for democracy, and we held the line against tyranny. Our alliances didn't fracture, they strengthened. NATO expanded, the world watched, and America led with integrity. We made bold strides in climate. We didn't backtrack. We doubled down. With historic investments in clean energy manufacturing and environmental justice, we made it clear. The future of this planet demands action, and we won't wait. At home, we made communities safer. We tackled fentanyl head-on, securing our borders with smart policies, not fear-mongering. And we empowered local law enforcement with the tools they need to protect, not provoke. Was it perfect? Number. Governing in a divided nation never is. But we governed with a steady hand, a heart full of empathy, and a vision that includes everybody, no matter their zip code, background, or belief. And yes, along the way, we issued critical executive orders, some quiet but powerful, others loud and long overdue. They shaped how we act, how we serve, and how we protect the American promise. In just a moment, we'll take a deeper look at those executive actions, because behind each order, behind every signature, there's a story, a reason, a life changed. So let's open the book, let's turn the page, let's talk about the executive orders of 2024. 2022 was a year marked by collisions between visions, values, and leadership styles. But above the noise, one question stood tall. What kind of country are we becoming? And when we look back at 2022 through the lens of presidential authority, we must revisit the legacy of Donald J. Trump, still exercising power through the pen, still shaping America's course with a flurry of executive orders. Let's be clear, the power of executive orders is not ceremonial. It is directional. It sets tone. It determines access. It decides protection or exposure. And in 2022, Donald Trump, operating in a contentious and divided climate, issued executive orders that claimed to safeguard American interests, but often magnified division, deregulation, and short-term optics over long-term healing. Let's start with what helped. Some of Trump's EOs attempted to project strength in foreign policy. His administration extended restrictions on investments tied to Chinese military firms and issued strong posturing on national cyber threats. It was a continuation of a doctrine built on economic nationalism and strategic containment. These orders reinforced a hardened stance against digital and geopolitical adversaries, China, Russia, Iran. And in a year where war broke out in Europe, that posture resonated with many. We also saw orders that attempted to address energy, labor, and law enforcement. On paper, these moves positioned themselves as pro-American, pro-worker, pro-security. For example, orders expanding support for police and federal agencies, or directing attention to domestic energy production during a time of global supply chain instability. But let's not be fooled. Many of these executive orders were rushed, reactionary, or symbolic at best. Take, for example, actions dealing with infrastructure or public safety. They promised toughness, but failed to offer equity. They touted patriotism, but left the vulnerable exposed. Executive order in chronological order. Executive Order 14,115 imposing certain sanctions on persons undermining peace, security, and stability in the West Bank on February 1st, 2024. Executive Order 14,116 amending regulations relating to the safeguarding of vessels, harbors, ports, and waterfront facilities of the United States on February 21st, 2024. Executive Order 14,117 preventing access to Americans' bulk, sensitive personal data and United States government-related data by countries of concern on February 28, 2024. Executive Order 14,118 termination of emergency with respect to the situation in Zimbabwe on March 4, 2024. Executive Order 14,119, scaling and expanding the use of registered apprenticeships in industries and the federal government and promoting labor management forums on March 6, 2024. Executive Order 14,120, advancing women's health research and innovation on March 18, 2024. Executive Order 14,121, recognizing and honoring women's history on March 27, 2024. Executive Order 14,122, COVID-19 and Public Health Preparedness and Response on April 12, 2024. Executive Order 14,123, White House Council on Supply Chain Resilience on June 14, 2024. Executive Order 14,124, White House Initiative on Advancing Educational Equity, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity through Hispanic Serving Institutions on July 17, 2024. Executive Order 14,125, establishing an emergency board to investigate a dispute between New Jersey Transit Rail Operations and its locomotive engineers, represented by the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen on July 24, 2024. Executive Order 14,126, investing in America and investing in American workers on September 6, 2024. Executive Order 14,127, combating emerging firearms threats and improving school-based active shooter drills on September 26, 2024. Executive Order 14,128, establishing a second emergency board to investigate a dispute between New Jersey Transit Rail Operations and its locomotive engineers, represented by the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen on November 21, 2024. Executive Order 14,129, providing for the closing of executive departments and agencies of the federal government on December 24, 2024. Executive Order 14,130, 2024, amendments to the Manual for Courts-Martial, United States on December 20, 2024. Executive Order 14,131, amendments to executive orders relating to certain certificates and badges on December 20, 2024. Executive Order 14,132, adjustments of certain rates of pay on December 23, 2024. Executive Order 14,133, providing for the closing of executive departments and agencies of the federal government on January 9, 2025, signed December 30, 2024. Executive Order 14,134, providing an order of succession within the Department of Agriculture on January 3, 2025. Executive Order 14,135, providing an order of succession within the Department of Homeland Security on January 3, 2025. Executive Order 14,136, providing an order of succession within the Department of Justice on January 3, 2025. Executive Order 14,137, providing an order of succession within the Department of the Treasury on January 3, 2025. Executive Order 14,138, providing an order of succession within the Office of Management and Budget on January 3rd, 2025. Executive Order 14,139, providing an order of succession within the Office of the National Cyber Director on January 3rd, 2025. Executive Order 14,140, taking additional steps with respect to the situation in the Western Balkans on January 8, 2025. Executive Order 14,441, advancing United States leadership in artificial intelligence infrastructure on January 14, 2025. Executive Order 14,142, taking additional steps with respect to the situation in Syria on January 15, 2025. Executive Order 14,143, providing for the appointment of alumni of AmeriCorps to the competitive service on January 16, 2025. Executive Order 14,144, strengthening and promoting innovation in the nation's cybersecurity on January 16, 2025. Executive Order 14,145, helping left-behind communities make a comeback on January 19, 2025. Executive Order 14,146, partial revocation of Executive Order 13,961 on January 19, 2025.
Lean's Pizza, where we deliver happiness one slice at a time. What's your craving today?
Yeah, hi. Is Seymour there?
Oh, Seymour. I think he might be busy making our special pies. But hey, why not swing by the pizzeria? We've got a pie with your name on it. Anything else I can help you with?
I was looking for Seymour Butts.
I see. Well, if you're looking for Seymour Butts, he might be hiding behind a pepperoni slice. Anything else I can do for you today?
No, that's it.
Hi, I'm Terrence, a marketing professional with a passion for helping your business grow smarter and faster. Here at DaBomb Digital Media, based right here in Atlanta, Georgia, we specialize in bringing your vision to life. Whether you're launching your first website or reimagining your entire digital presence, we've got you covered. From modern website design and search engine optimization to setting up your own AI-powered agency tools, we deliver innovative solutions that keep you ahead of the curve. Ready to unlock your business's full potential? Let's build something remarkable together. For more information, visit our YouTube channel. Just search DaBomb Digital Media on YouTube and start exploring tips, success stories, and everything you need to elevate your
25.
brand.
My fellow Americans, and all truth seekers around the world. We arrive now at the crossroads of the year 2024, a year that pulsed with uncertainty, division, and bold declarations of power. In this imagined chapter of history, we're exploring the alternate reality in which Donald J. Trump returned to the Oval Office for a second term. Whether you believe this vision was grounded in patriotism or performance, one thing's clear: the executive pen was back in motion, and it didn't hesitate. From January through December, the executive orders flowed, some restoring old policies, others dismantling Biden-era structures. But every single one told a story of regulatory rollback, law enforcement expansion, national security muscle flexing, and renewed political theater on the global stage. 2024 wasn't just about domestic agendas. It was a year when the world watched and responded. China, Russia, the Middle East, each moved their pieces in reaction to America's new tone. Some borders hardened, some alliances frayed, some military contracts surged. At home, the tone was unmistakable. Trump returned to the stage with a promise to finish what he started. And that meant orders on immigration, on energy, on education, and on dismantling what he and his allies called the deep state scaffolding. Some executive actions sparked legal battles that are still tied up in court. Others restructured funding, overturned federal regulations, and reactivated commissions from a previous era. Now, whether these orders helped or hurt America, well, that depends on where you sit. For oil-rich states, deregulation brought jobs. For environmentalists, it brought despair. For conservative parents, education orders felt like a win. For LGBTQ+ communities, they felt like an erasure. This is the world we must unpack. not through spin, not through tweets, but through deep review. That's why today, we begin our close examination of the top 10 executive orders of 2024 from the Trump administration. We'll look at what was signed, how it shaped the nation in that moment, and how its ripple effects continue today, for better or worse. So take a breath, because the next chapter begins now. How the EOs affect present as well for the year, as well as major events that took place that affected the world and some that affected only America. Tonight, we peel back the rhetoric to examine a hypothetical second term of Donald J. Trump in the year 2024 through the prism of his top 10 executive orders, their immediate impact, and their legacy into today. These are not merely documents. They are blueprints for governance. They reshaped institutions, rewrote trade alignments, and rewound environmental and civil rights progress. They sparked lawsuits, reshaped industries, and split states, and sometimes families. Let's begin with 1. EO, Securing the Border Through National Guard Mobilization. Signed January 24, 2024. Trump's immediate executive action mobilized around 15,000 National Guard troops along the southern border, reinstated expedited deportation policies, and cut funding to sanctuary cities, a forceful revisiting of his prior border strategy. 2024 effect: state pushback in California and New York, 34% surge in arrests and detentions by CBP and ICE. Present-day impact: partial wall expansions exist, but legal challenges over funding and separation policies remain. The trauma for families damaged community trust in federal immigration enforcement. 2 EO, Eliminating Climate Executive Action Burdens. Signed February 14, 2024. This order revoked key Biden-era executive policies on methane emissions, federal fleet electrification, and zero-net building standards. 2024 effect: surge in oil and gas development, especially in Gulf states. Deregulatory impact stirred environmental rollback backlash. Present-day impact: analysts attribute a 4-year delay in emissions reduction goals partly to this order. States like California enacted independent climate protections to counteract federal reversals. 3rd EO, Reinstituting Patriotic Education Framework. Signed March 18, 2024. Revived the 1776 Commission and pushed American exceptionalism over critical race theory and gender ideology in schools. 2024. Effect: teacher resignations, lawsuits from unions, heavy adoption in Texas and Florida, K-12 standards. Present-day impact: federal support rescinded in 2025, but states continue aligned curriculum standards, a lasting echo of this policy. 4th EO, American Energy Independence Directive, signed April 22, 2024, Earth Day. This symbolic turnaround revoked EV tax credits and resumed the Keystone XL pipeline under new permits. 2024. Effect: energy stock spikes, EV firm destabilization, multiple tribal lawsuits. Present-day impact: Keystone construction stalled by state injunctions. EV growth recovery lagged, yet new fossil projects surged. 5th EO, Executive Clemency Fast Track Program. Signed May 29, 2024, established a presidential justice panel to expedite pardons, particularly drug offenders and some Trump allies. 2024 effect: hundreds released, media controversy over perceived political motivations. Present-day impact: order disbanded in 2025 but remains an example and warning of executive overreach in clemency. 6th EO, Rebuilding American Manufacturing Base, RAMB, signed June 17, 2024. Provided trade incentives to domestic manufacturers and redirected subsidies to key Rust Belt states. 2024. Effect: economic upticks in Ohio and Michigan. Trade tensions with China worsened. Present-day impact: mixed. Large firms profited, but consumer costs rose. Supply chain shifts took deeper root in India and Southeast Asia. 7. EO, Loyalty and Neutrality Review Commission. Signed, July 4, 2024. Investigated federal employees' social media and whistleblower activity. Many reassigned amid allegations of disloyalty. 2024. Effect. 500-plus federal workers investigated. DOJ and EPA saw mass resignations. Present-day impact. Suspended in 2025 after lawsuits. Federal institutional trust has not recovered. 8. EO, America First Digital Infrastructure Strategy. Signed, August 30, 2024. Redirected broadband funding to select rural counties and excluded vendors tied to China or Europe. 2024. Effect: 14% broadband access rise in rural red districts. Accusations of partisan allocation. Present-day impact: rejoined oversight protocols, yet underserved urban areas still lag behind infrastructure progress. 9th EO, Election Integrity Enhancement Act. Signed, October 8, 2024. Set federal standards for voter ID, limited mail-in ballots, and required machine audits, deeply tied to 2020 election disputes. 2024 effect: blue states defied compliance, DOJ filed challenges, protests erupted during the general election. Present-day impact: repealed in 2025, but state laws inspired by this order continue in swing states such as Georgia and Arizona. 10th EO, termination of select federal DEI programs, signed December 12, 2024. This order defunded all federal diversity, equity, and inclusion programs under the premise of removing ideological coercion. 2024, effect: DEI offices dissolved in most agencies, civil rights lawsuits launched. Present-day impact: some programs have been quietly restored under new titles, but the cultural and institutional fallout remains palpable. 2024 under Trump was not just a year, it was a rebellion of executive ambition. It rewrote regulatory landscapes, reconfigured the federal workforce, and sought to reset America's direction on immigration, education, energy, and civil rights. Whether you agree with these orders or fear them, you cannot deny. They reshaped policy trajectories, altered institutions, and continue to cast ripples into the present. Now coming next, the ranking and breakdown of these top 10 EOs by their legal consequences, economic weight, and moral cost. Are you ready to go deeper? Some write history with blood, some with laws, but the sharpest stroke comes from the pen. Executive power ain't just a tool, it's a weapon wielded by the few, affecting the many. They sign it, we live it. They order it, we obey it. Here, watching, digging, remembering. From the plantation to the proclamation, from internment camps to civil rights stands, from surveillance laws to student loan draws. Order can change your life, and you might not even know it, but now you do. So stay locked in, stay woke, stay sharp. We ain't just talking about power, we tracking it. Executive Order Watch, and we ain't blinking.